Hello, I am author Eileen Schnabel, author of the Kep Westgard Time Travel to the American Revolution series, and I'm standing in front of a statue to Abraham Lincoln, who is with Stephen Douglas for the Lincoln and Douglas debates. And I actually thought this was the presidential election debates, but it turns out this was for the Illinois Senate seat. So Lincoln faces Douglas in 1858 to win the Senate seat, but he loses to Douglas. But ironically, 2 years later in 1860, Lincoln will face Douglas again, and this time Lincoln will win the presidency. So he lost the Senate seat, won the presidency. But what I found interesting in how this connects to the Revolutionary War is they're debating essentially, the debate is slavery and slavery going into the new territories, but it is a Federalist, Anti-Federalist argument, which is something that has come all the way down from when the Constitution is being ratified. So ironically, Patrick Henry, who is a give me liberty or give me death, was actually concerned about the South losing slaves, the right to have slaves, and he was concerned, he was an anti-federalist and didn't want the federal government to end slavery. This issue basically is popping up once again here in 1858 during the Senate debate, and Lincoln becomes quite famous for his arguments. He gains a lot of people follow his ideology here when he says it shouldn't be spread into the new territories. He wasn't arguing for a complete abolition of slavery at this point. He did make moral arguments against it, and he said he didn't feel that the founders, that the heart of the country, I can't remember the exact verbiage, but that that slavery did not fit with what sort of the founders wanted. But he also thought it had to be sort of a slow emancipation, that it would happen over time. And his argument was, if you didn't allow it to expand, then it would die of its own, you'd kind of contain it and it would slowly die. And his concern was this argument, the supposed states' rights argument, was underneath it an argument just to have slavery, and that it would actually last a lot longer. So anyway, here we are many years later, and it occurs to me, I haven't really followed it very closely right now, but there's the debate about the Department of Education, like a federal Department of Education, and whether that should be disbanded, and then the states should decide what happens in their states. And I think arguably it's the same thing coming down. So if you think the constitutional arguments down to Lincoln and Douglas here and down to today, a lot of that idea of how much rights should the federal government have and how many rights should the states have is something that continues on. So anyway, thanks for listening to all that, and I hope you have a wonderful day, and I'll see you again soon.